Your phone buzzes. You look down. It's a message from someone you actually like, someone you care about. And it says, "Hey, I'm nearby. Mind if I swing by?" You smile. You type back, "Of course, come on over." And then you put the phone down. And somewhere in your chest, something quietly tightens. Not because you don't want to see them, not because you're angry or tired or in a bad mood, but because a voice in the back of your mind just whispered something you'd never say out loud. There goes my peace. If you felt that, I want you to know something right away. You are not a bad friend. You are not selfish. You are not broken or cold or antisocial. You are someone who understands, maybe more deeply than most, that home is not just a place where you sleep. It's the only place in the world where you don't have to be anything for anyone. And today, I want to talk about why that matters, why protecting that space is not something to be ashamed of, and what the psychology behind it actually says about who you are. Let's start with something most people never stop to think about. Every single day, from the moment you step outside your door, you are performing, not in a dishonest way, not in a manipulative way, just in the very human way that all of us navigate the social world. You choose your words carefully. You modulate your tone. You read the room. You manage how you come across. You absorb other people's energy and respond to it in real time. It's exhausting in a way that's almost invisible because you've been doing it so long it feels normal. But then you come home. The door closes. The outside world stays outside, and for the first time all day, you exhale. Really exhale. Not the polite exhale you do in a meeting, the deep one. The one that comes from somewhere in your bones. The mask comes off. Not because you were being fake out there, but because being real, fully and completely real, requires a specific kind of safety. And for you, that safety lives inside these walls. Psychologists call this territorial comfort. It's the deep psychological ease that comes from being in a space where every variable is known and every element is under your control. The mug on your desk is exactly where you left it. The lighting is exactly how you like it. The sounds, or the beautiful absence of them, are yours. Your home isn't just a place you live. It's a carefully calibrated environment your nervous system has learned to trust completely. And when someone else enters that environment, even someone you love, something shifts. Think about a lake on a perfectly still morning. The surface is glass. Every reflection is clear. There's a quality of silence that feels almost alive. Now imagine someone throws a stone into the middle of it. Nothing bad happened. The stone didn't hurt anyone. The lake is still the lake. But the surface is no longer still. The reflections have broken apart. The silence has changed shape. That's what it feels like when a guest arrives. Not a catastrophe, not even an unpleasant thing, just a disruption to a stillness that took effort to create and will take time to restore. And here's the part that almost no one talks about. When your guest is sitting across from you and you're laughing and talking and genuinely enjoying their company, something else is also happening underneath the surface. You are working, not hard labor, but the quiet, constant emotional labor of being present with another person, tracking the conversation, reading their mood, adjusting yourself to the shared space, being, in some small but real way, on. For some people, that's energizing. The presence of another person fills them up, but for you, it costs something, slowly, quietly, like a phone battery draining in the background while you're trying to focus on something else. And the longer the visit goes, the more you feel it. Not as frustration, necessarily, just as a growing awareness that some part of you is waiting. Waiting for the moment the door closes again. Waiting to come back to yourself. This isn't something wrong with you. This is something specific about how you're wired. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed that you often prefer to meet people somewhere else? A coffee shop, a restaurant, a park, somewhere outside your home? If you have, I want you to think about why that actually is. It's not because you don't want to see them. It's because meeting somewhere outside creates a boundary that protects something precious. In a neutral space, you can be warm and present and fully engaged. And when it's over, you leave. The space that restores you, your home, remains untouched, unchanged, waiting. People with strong emotional boundaries do this instinctively. They've learned, sometimes without having the words for it, that keeping the sanctuary intact means they can actually show up better in the outside world. The two spaces serve different functions. And keeping them separate is not antisocial. It's intelligent. Your home is where you process, where you decompress, where you let the day fall away from you. Inviting someone in means inviting them into that process, and not everyone has earned that. Not because they're bad people, but because that level of access to your inner world is something you protect carefully, as you should. There's something else I want to name here. Something that's true for a lot of warm, caring, deeply empathetic people. The moment the door closes after a guest leaves, there is a feeling. It's not quite relief. Relief implies something was wrong. It's more like restoration, like the first breath after surfacing from underwater. Like the quiet after a piece of music ends and you realize you'd been holding tension in your shoulders the whole time. The house settles. The silence returns. And some part of you that had been gently braced for hours finally lets go. And then, sometimes, comes the guilt. Because you genuinely like this person. You had a good time. So why does their absence feel like oxygen? Here's the honest answer. It doesn't mean you love them less. It means you love yourself enough to know what you need. The people who feel the deepest relief when guests leave are very often the same people who were the most generous and attentive while those guests were there. They gave fully. And now they need to refill. That is not coldness. That is the natural rhythm of a person who knows how to give and knows what it costs them. And I want to say one more thing, because I think it matters. For some people, this sensitivity to guests has roots that go deeper than personality. If you grew up in a home where having people over meant tension, or performance, or chaos, or the pressure to make everything look better than it was, then your nervous system learned something early. It learned that the arrival of outsiders meant something was required of you, something exhausting and possibly unpredictable. And even now, even in your own home, even with people you trust completely, that old learning can still echo. The body remembers what the mind has moved past. That's not weakness. That's history, and it's worth being gentle with yourself about it. So, here is what I want you to take from all of this. You can love people deeply and still need space from them. Those two things do not contradict each other. They actually depend on each other, because the space is what makes the love sustainable. Protecting your home, your quiet, your stillness, is not a character flaw you need to overcome. It is a form of self-knowledge. It is you understanding, clearly and without apology, what you need in order to function, to feel whole, and to show up for the people and things that matter to you. Your home is your sanctuary. Guard it with the same care you give to everything else you love. And the next time someone asks why you'd rather meet at a coffee shop or why you need the weekend to yourself, you don't owe them a complicated explanation. You just need somewhere that's fully, completely, quietly yours. If this video felt like someone finally said what you've been quietly thinking for years, this channel is where you belong. Minimal Psychology is here every week, exploring the science behind how we think, feel, and take care of ourselves. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.